Hi, everyone. This is Heather Vickery. Welcome to this week's episode of the Brave Files podcast. How would you feel if I said that we all have the capacity to heal ourselves? Really, from a lot of different things, maybe even most things. I know, it's a stretch, right? But this is a truth that Jim Rajan wants us to sit with. Jim is trained in shamanic healing, traditional Chinese medicine, Reiki, and sound healing. And he's a distance healer whose one-on-one healing ceremonies offer clients a chance to feel seen and heal themselves. This week, I talked to Jim about how he discovered this type of work, what a healing ceremony actually is, because you're wondering, I sure was too, the art of self-love, and finding poetry in life. It's really about discovering a knowing within yourself and allowing that knowing to inform and guide you. I had a great conversation with Jim. I am really excited to share it with you, so get cozy and let's get started.
Learning, meaning, and mission.
This is Heather Vickery, and you're listening to The Brave Files, stories from people living courageously. When we choose bravely in big and small ways, it powerfully elevates our lives. I hope these stories connect with you and encourage you to embrace bravery in every possible way, day after day. Together, we can build a movement of courageous living that enriches both our lives and our communities. And if you enjoy the show, I ask you to please share it with others. Maybe think of someone who you want to choose bravely right alongside you. Thanks for tuning in. Now here's the show. Listeners, I have always been fascinated by the metaphysical, those things that we feel and we believe to be true, but we can't quite put our finger on why or truly understand how they work or what they do. They just somehow do. And that is why I'm super excited to talk to today's guest, Jim Rajan, about his work as a distance healer who supports others by connecting to a person's base frequency. These are things that I know about, but still I hear that and I'm like, what the heck does that even mean? But he does it in an empowering and enriching way. He calls it the healing ceremony. That is so engaging for me. And this work really helps people transform their lives in all aspects, from health and self-esteem to fulfillment, living your purpose. And we're going to find out what brought Jim to this work, what his brave journey has been, and how maybe you can bring some of that into your own life. Jim, welcome to the Brave Files.
Thank you so much.
I heard you giggle when I was like, we know this word, we just don't know why. Like, what?
Yeah.
We don't. I mean, some of these things we find there's some science behind, but I think a lot of what you do is very unexplainable. So I'd love to hear from you how you got into this, and I mean, yeah, what it means to you. I don't know. I have a lot of questions. How'd you get into this?
I know it's an interesting one, isn't it? And there's a lot of kind of hocus pocus and kind of airy fairy mysticism around all these kinds of things. So I like to be really feet on the ground and honest and genuine and authentic about it. How did I get into it? Well, I have had hundreds of different jobs in my life, and I've tried all different kinds of things, and nothing really worked. I come from a family of healers.
Okay.
My mum is a homeopath and a Reiki master. My sister as well, and I've studied all kinds of different kinds of alternative medicine and healing. But I started because one day I was just talking to a friend of mine. She lives in Monaco. I live in Spain, and she was just really down, and we were talking about something, a difficulty, a challenge that she's had for something like 20 years and not getting help with, and tried all kinds of things. And I just said, look, I don't really know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something here, and I just want to help. Let me try this thing. So I sat and I did a healing ceremony. I just sat and connected and really tried to use my intention to help a friend, no? And at the same time, I thought, I don't really know what I'm doing here. This doesn't really make sense. But I did it. And then I called her, and she was crying. And I was like, oh, are you okay? What happened? And she said, I felt all these kinds of things. And then I started telling her about what came out and what I found and what she'd, essentially my work is about listening. So I just sit and I listen to someone. It doesn't matter where they are in the world. And so I told her what I'd heard and what came. And she was amazed. And she said, and I've known her for probably over 25 years. And she said, but how did you know that about me? No one knows that about me. And I was quite struck, and I thought, I don't know. And I started to question myself, and I just said, well, I don't know. It just kind of came. And she was really freaked out, no? And then, and then we finished the conversation, and all of a sudden, people started asking me if I could do one for them. And then I did one for my sister, and she was blown away, and she said, but no one knows that about me, and that's my sister, no?
Wow.
And then slowly I just kind of put it out there on Instagram or what have you, and now I have clients all over the world, and I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 clients a day sometimes, and every time I do a piece of work, I'm just amazed. And I'm not amazed at myself. I'm just a normal person. I'm amazed at how two people are able to just connect, no matter where they are in the world. And I listen, and I do little pieces of work, and I make sure that everything I deliver to the person when I'm done in a healing ceremony, I make sure it's very positive and empowering. And if I find something difficult or challenging, it's a responsibility for me to make sure that comes to the person in a way that it helps growth and helps them understand their life, helps them understand how they are, why they are, where they are in life, who they are, what they are, and that they can actually do something with it. So
yeah, it's really fascinating and cool. And I wonder, was there ever an element for you? Did it always just feel really easy and natural for you? Or was there an element of, for lack of a better word, fear, like what is actually happening? Because you've said you don't know. I don't know why I can do this. Not everybody can do this. Was there fear with that?
I think everyone can do it. I mean,
really?
there's nothing special about me. I think that everyone is in inverted commas psychic. Everyone can feel things and see things. Everyone is intuitive. Everyone has a connection to the kind of subtle qualities of life, but most of us haven't actually developed it or done anything with it or believed in it. But I was like a weird kid at school. I was like ADHD and dyslexic and all kinds of stuff and very different. I had a very challenging time when I was a kid anyway, and so I tried all kinds of different things and nothing worked, and it was just I kind of needed to develop my own extrasensory perception, I suppose. But you have it as well,
I do. I follow my intuition a lot, and I'm very guided by all of that. I'm actually fascinated. I'm like, maybe Jim can teach me to do more of that. But did it frighten you when you realized that you could connect with people on that frequency, or did it always feel like a comfortable space for you to be in?
Yeah, no, it never frightened me. What the fear I got was the responsibility of what to do with that information and how to deliver it to a person in a way that didn't scare the hell out of them or make them feel kind of vulnerable. So I've worked a lot on myself in my life, partly because I've had to, and partly because I've had a lot of kind of suffering and challenges in my life. I've had wonderful things as well, but I've really used my life, and I've used the suffering and difficulties I've had to help me understand life. So when I come to a new client and a new person, I'm coming with more than, I'm using the whole of myself, if that makes sense.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, as a coach, I would say the same thing. The reason I'm able to be helpful to others is because of my own learning journey and my own transformation and the work that I've done. And that means that we can tell people from truth, from vulnerable, authentic experience. I feel this, I understand this, and I can help you see a path forward, which is really such a gift. Now, I would love to hear more about what the healing ceremony is. Is that always a virtual thing?
There's no technology involved. So when I do it, I decide on a day and time with the person I'm working with, and then at that time, for about 30 minutes, I just sit and I kind of have all kinds of things around me. I'm a musician and a music producer as well, and so I have different musical instruments, and I just have an array of stuff in front of me to really provoke. And often I don't need anything. So often I'll sit down, and in fact, often even before I've started, it's already started, and I'm already kind of not receiving things. That sounds too strange. I'm connecting, no?
Yeah. It kind of is receiving. You're getting a download of some sort, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then for about 30 minutes, I do the piece of work, and it becomes necessary for me to do little pieces of processes with the person or healing work. And then when I finish, I send the person audios. So I usually send them about 20 minutes of audios, or in Instagram or WhatsApp or whatever the platform is. And then many people like to do a video chat with me afterwards, but many people don't. A lot of people, they don't even like to talk to me in person. They just receive their information and sit with it and process it and work their own way through it, because it's very rich. It's very enriching, because you get to hear. How do I put it? You get to have someone else connect to your own inherent wisdom in a way, and pull it out and hand it to you on a plate.
I imagine it feels like being seen.
Yeah, but not in a vulnerable way.
Yeah, no, in a fulfilling way. In a like, I exist. I take up this space, and somebody else knows it.
Yeah, it's affirming. It's really affirming.
Yeah.
I mean, I have this phrase that I use all the time, which is nothing exists until you do. And it's so true, because when you're one of those people and you just don't feel like you exist, and you just go through the mundane activities of life, and you've given up on any kind of magic that life might hold, and you're not connected to the poetry underneath life, like the natural order of things, and life just becomes this really superficial thing to you that you're in a way bored of. And then someone comes along and says, look, actually, this is what you're showing me. And you go, wow, I had no idea that I even impact the world like that. That's incredible. And it empowers you, and it changes your frequency. It expands your energy. I mean, I don't like the word energy because it's too kind of hippie-ish, but it kind of.
And you are not a hippie? Would you say you're not a hippie?
I was a long time ago. I was a long time ago, but I find that it's. I am what I am. I'm a bit of an explosion of all things. I come from a very mixed kind of background. It's taken me a long time to be able to just say that I am what I am, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah, that's huge. I think that's amazing. And you have. You do a lot of things. You're very skilled. I mean, this list, traditional Chinese medicine and Reiki and sound healing, and you're Buddhist and the distance healing, and you do meditative work on Insight Time. Like, that's quite a wide range of things that you bring into the world and give of yourself to do. I wonder, from the perspective of people who are like you and like me and give a lot of ourselves to others, does it ever get exhausting to give that much?
I don't know if is it giving? I mean, I'm here to eat life, and that's how it is. I was very ill when I was a child. I had all kinds of problems when I was a kid. I have kind of certain chronic illnesses. I've had lots of kind of experiences that have shown me how fragile and short life is. And I've had them so close to my face. I mean, for example, my daughter, when she was a baby, she was extremely ill. And I've had these things And it is said that suffering is enlightenment. I wouldn't say that I'm enlightened. I'd certainly do my best. But I've had life hit me in the face so many times that I don't take it for granted. I'm here. I have X amount of years. I'm 47 now. If I'm lucky, I've got another 30 years maybe. So let's get on with it. You know, I'm here to do and just create and to enjoy and experience. What is life if it's not a list of experiences? Some of them are supposed to hurt. Life is not supposed to be easy. It's not about, you don't come to life to just be happy and sit and watch Netflix every night. That doesn't really cut it. That's not what human life is about. Netflix is fun. Sometimes you need to have a rest, of course. But, you know, it's like life is this incredible thing and you've been given it. You can either do something with that or not. And either way is fine, and you're not a bad person if you don't do that. But I have this real feeling that I came to this life for a reason, with meaning. I mean, I really try and live my life with meaning. Why? Because I need to. Because I've gone to the really horrible, dark places, and they are really unpleasant. And so I'm like, right, well, okay, you take me to one extreme. I've done that. I want to taste all of the other things. I want to really see where we can go with this. It's said that, you know, one person has the capacity to change this world. I don't know if I'm going to change this world, but I'm going to do my best to bring about something in the lives of other people while having the time of my life.
I love that so much, and I do believe we are here for a thing, and the thing is here for us, right? You get to make what you want to make out of it. I am so curious. I'm so fascinated by someone. I mean, I hear you saying that there's been a lot of struggle and strife, and that is all just part of it, and yet you have this huge following. You were welcomed onto Insight Timer, which, congratulations. I think that's amazing. You have a lovely following there. How does that feel to be moving into those spaces? And then also, I'd love to know sort of what a day in the life of Jim is like when you have so many moving parts and also caring for you.
How does it feel to have that? I mean, yeah, I have about sort of 7,500 followers on Insight Timer, and so many thousand on Instagram. And I don't know if it's about the amount of people. I think it's about how does it? It feels great to be able to provide something that is useful. And something that people really value. It really feels. I'm honoured. I'm honoured to be able to bring some kind of quality to life that other people don't bring. I mean, a day in the life of me. I'm we're homeschooling my daughter at the moment because of coronavirus, but that's actually
How old is she?
She's 12.
Okay.
That's kind of fun, actually. You know, I do all the stuff that everyone else does, but if I have a minute spare, I'm doing something. I mean, I'm hyperactive. When I was at school, I was just academically a disaster because I just couldn't stop moving around, doing things, whatever. You know, and so now. It's just like, if I've got 5 minutes, I'm gonna do something. I do rest. I do take care of myself. I really, and it's quite hard for me to do that. I have to actively take care of myself. I make sure I eat really well. I'm a Buddhist, so I chant every day. I try to meditate every day. I really try to do some kind of yoga, exercise. Every single day, because that keeps me grounded. It keeps me, it keeps my head clear. It keeps my ego at bay because we all have one.
We do.
And it keeps me just kind of present and available. It's like everyone has an enormous amount of resources. Most people, they don't think they have any. But you can have an enormous amount of resources but never even be attached to it or connected to it. So it's really important to understand that you have amazing capacities and abilities and resources within you, and B, actually be connected to them. And so for me, I do a lot of just sitting on my own with a pen and a piece of paper, with nothing going on, no music, and just stuff will come out of me, and or anger will come out of me, or whatever kind of frustration, and it's important that I let these things out of myself. I'm half Indian, half English, but I was brought up in the UK, and there's a lot of internalizing in English people, and I adopted that, and I'm still working on releasing. I have to kind of force myself to not do that. But yeah, I take care of myself also by taking care of the people around me, and self-love is possibly the hardest thing.
It is.
It really is.
It really is.
Yeah, and that's kind of the basis of my work as a distance healer, is helping people see the value in self-love, in taking care of themselves before they take care of others.
Yeah.
For example, I have loads and loads of clients who are Reiki masters. And what you get with people who do Reiki is they go and learn Reiki. They understand that it's a universal energy that passes through you, and then it's that heals the person that you are treating. And they do that for a while, but then they forget, and they start to use their own energy. And then after a year or 2 years, they're absolutely exhausted, and they hate giving Reiki, but they have clients and they have to do it. And so it's reminding people, no, you've got to take care of yourself, and you have to find that empty channel within you where universal energy flows through you.
Yeah.
No,
I love that. And obviously it makes a lot of sense for somebody who's in energy work, but I also think it makes a lot of sense for any type of work that you're in, is tapping into those different energy channels and not depleting yourself in the process. To me, I think it's such a gift to be able to hear that, and for folks to know that it doesn't have to exhaust you all the time, that you do not have to operate in that space. Jim, I'm curious for you, at what point in your life did you realize that this was your calling, for lack of a better term, like doing this type of work was where you were going to spend your energy in the rest of your life?
Well, as soon as I did that first one,
you knew right away.
I was just like, oh my God, that was incredible. How did I do that? Where did that come from? What's that all about? I'd done all kinds of. I've had hundreds of jobs. I mean, I worked in film and TV for years, and I've been the manager of a cocktail bar. I've been this. I've been like a million things, because I was forever searching. I was like, I'm here. I'm alive. Okay, let's try these things. And I tried loads of things. And my friends, they used to take they used to mock me, because I'd like have a different job every time I saw them. But when I did that first piece of work with my friend, it was just like everything. It just felt right. It was about feeling. I hit a knowing within me. I hit a kind of, wait a minute, doing this attaches me to that poetry beneath life. And I've been striving and looking for ways to achieve that. And as a musician, and a music producer, I thought, maybe that's the way. And I love making music, although I was never taught how to, so I don't have a clue about, music theory. But it was just like, I did that one, and I sat back after speaking to my friend, and I was just like, I don't know what that was, but I love it. And if I could do that every day, I would be the luckiest person in the world. And I am.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much magic in that. That's what I hope all of our listeners, I want you to find the knowing. And it's there for you if you're listening, right? If you are paying attention to what is happening in your life and allowing yourself to connect with whatever it is, source or energy or self or all of those things.
But I mean, what is knowing? If you take it to, to know is to have that place within yourself where there is a foundation. You have a solid foundation within you that can look out and actually see what's going on around you, and that can listen and listen to what's going on underneath the people's voices. That's knowing. It's not getting carried away and you listen to someone say something and you're like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, I accept that. Yeah, and looking at the world around you and going, oh yeah, well of course the world's like that. Yeah, that's how it is. No, but
yes,
it's not.
It's actually the opposite of that.
Yeah, it's so the opposite. It's crazy. So really, it's like when you start to root yourself and you find a solid base from which to spring from, you understand life in a different way, and you understand life in a very different way from many of the people around you. In one way, it can be kind of isolating, but then you find your community, and you find people who resonate as you do, and it becomes a wonderful, wonderful experience of life instead of just a experience of life.
Yeah. Oh, that's just so magical. I love it, and I'm wondering, does this work, this life that you've leaned into, does it feel brave to you?
I like the word brave.
Me too.
Because brave, I mean, it can come from many different standpoints. Does it feel brave? It feels honest. I kind of got myself to a place through life experience where if I lost my life, say tomorrow, it would be sad. It would be a shame for the people around me. But I have really lived every day as best I could. So yeah, it would be a damn shame, but I'd be like, all right, cool. Well, I had a great one. Let's go to the next one. What's happening in the next one? Take me to the next one. If you believe in that kind of thing. Yeah. So, is it brave? I'm too humble to say that. Yeah, I'm probably too shy to say that it's brave.
It's so fascinating that somebody who does all of the things that you do and puts yourself out there is so shy, and I love that, because I hope listeners can know that you can do all of these things and be shy and introverted. But I would venture to say that any time we're deeply, truly honest, that it's brave.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's difficult to be honest with yourself and kind of act in an honest way in life, because we're so conditioned, and there are so many systems in society that we have to adhere to, no?
Yeah, absolutely.
When you step out of that and you go, all right, yeah, normal everyday life and the people in it, yeah, that's fine. You guys do your stuff, but I can't live like that anymore. I have this impetus within me to search for something else. My soul requires the capacity to search. Yeah. And I think there's something I talk about a lot, which is the cycle of meaning and mission. And so when you have in your everyday life something happens and it brings you meaning, and you're like, wow, actually, yeah, life is really amazing. It forces you to live with mission, or you're compelled to live in a certain way, or you feel you have purpose. And then the more you have purpose, the more life, or the universe, or God, or whatever you want to call it gives you more meaning. And you're like, oh my God, that's amazing. I looked up at the sky and there was 2 eagles. That means something. And you're like, wow, I don't know what that means, but I'm having that. That's made my day. 2 eagles in the sky. Wonderful. And then you live with more mission. And then more meaning comes. And so eventually, that's life. It becomes a cycle of meaning and mission, instead of your life and then your mission. Your life is your mission. No?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yes. I think that's magical. And recognizing that and being able to tap into that, to me, is something so worth celebrating. And I'd love to know, is celebration something that you bring into the mundane of your life, and how do you celebrate?
Wow. How do I celebrate? I celebrate with simple things, like giving my daughter a hug, just sitting with my wife, doing something simple. Well, that's a good question, actually. I probably ought to celebrate more. I mean, we shouldn't, words like ought to or should or have to.
I know, I'm not a fan.
You got to be careful. No, you got to be careful because they're quite violent. If you follow like non-violent communication, they're not good words to use. But do you know what I do? I celebrate by just finding myself in moments in my day where beauty just surrounds me. Like I look out of the window now and the sun's setting and the light it casts on a tree just kind of lifts my heart and makes me feel how wonderful life is. It's so simple. Or, when coronavirus hit big time here in Spain, you couldn't even leave your house. Yeah. And so there were birds singing all the time, and it was just marvelous. It was the best thing ever. I just thought, I'm so blessed. Yes, coronavirus has been very difficult and challenging.
Sure.
It's brought up all kinds of strange things for humanity. But yeah, I celebrate with just, again, just finding poetry, finding the beauty in life, and actually taking the time to appreciate it and not get my phone and take a photo of it and put it on Instagram.
Yeah, as I don't know if you know Kid President or not. I'm a big fan, but he says take brain pictures. just be there in the moment and absorb it and remember it. But I love that. So that question stumps a lot of people because I think they feel like they need to come up with some big grand answer. And really the difference in seeing the sun glinting on the tree as the sun sets and just having it be a thing versus having it be a celebration is in the acknowledgement and appreciation of it. And then all of a sudden you're celebrating it. So celebration is a choice and it can be all of these moments. And it's so powerful when you decide this is, I honor this. I celebrate this. The sun setting, the times with your daughter, the sitting with your wife. What makes those celebrations is acknowledging them as such.
Yeah, being in them, actually experiencing them instead of sitting there and thinking what you're going to do next or thinking about the thing of the other day or. I mean, there's a wonderful story. There's a term called Brahman. Brahman is a Hindu term that means universal everythingness, and so God is Brahman with purpose. God is Brahman channeled in a direction. And they say that Brahman, there's a story that says that Brahman is like the sun and a human life is like the surface of the ocean as the waves go by and the sun hits the kind of tip of the wave and sparkles. And so if you actually acknowledge that your life is this wonderful, sparkling thing all of the time, even when it's horrible and difficult and challenging, you kind of get to separate yourself from those problems, and you get to look at them. You go, instead of them being stuck on your face, you actually separate yourself and you look at them and you go, right, actually it's not really a problem, actually it's a solution. In fact, I need that because I needed to go deeper and learn something about myself. So actually, thank you, that's wonderful. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that story with us. Well, as we come close to the end of this conversation, I find you fascinating. You have such a peaceful, beautiful energy about you, and I cannot wait to hopefully work with you myself and to continue to follow all your stuff. But I would love for you to share with us what your favorite charitable organization to support is and why.
Oh, yeah, there's two. So, I mean, it's quite a personal one. My daughter, when she was a baby, when she was when she was nearly 2 years old, she was diagnosed with cancer. And it was possibly the most horrible experience, an extreme thing that you can put a child through and their parents through. And so there was a charity, and it was really small, called Momentum in London, in the UK, and they would come to the hospital and just sit and ask us if we wanted to talk or give us a hug or make sure that we had simple things like tea and biscuits available to us when we were in hospital for days and days on end. Or they would just phone us up and say, are you all right? Is everything okay? And it wasn't the huge, big things of the charity, of the enormous amounts of money being given to people. It was just a person who actually was really genuine and cared, coming up to you and going, look, this is horrible, isn't it? Are you all right? And you would just fall to pieces. And then you because somebody had heard you, because somebody had actually bothered to listen to you, it brought the greatest healing ever.
Yeah. Oh,
ever.
That's beautiful. So
I
love that organizations like that exist. What's their name?
Momentum.
Okay. Momentum.
Momentum, and they're in Kingston, in London, in southwest London.
Okay. Yeah. And I do believe there are organizations like that throughout the world. I know for a fact we've done an interview with Tattooed Tom Mitchell, who's got the Still Brave organization here in the U.S. in D.C. that does something very similar. But you're right, Jim. Just the simple act of someone acknowledging and holding space for you can create so much healing.
Yeah, for example, I have to call myself a distance healer. No, I have to use the word healer so people know what I do, but I don't heal you. I don't actually heal. I just provide a space for you to recognize your own capacity to heal yourself, and for you to do the work yourself. Because if somebody comes along and they do the work for you, and they're that doesn't help you at all.
It doesn't work.
it just, in fact, it's the opposite. You just think, well, why the hell did you come? I mean, you're just wasting my time. Every human being is this massive explosion of complex everything, and so you can provide a space for that, for it to work itself out. No? Yeah. And you give information when necessary. If you don't give too much, you provide a space, and then you stand back and you just go, here you go. This is what you need. This is what you've asked for. Sit in it. Be in it. Yeah. No, actually be it. And I'm just amazed every time I work with a new person. It brings me to tears sometimes. I can't believe how amazing life can be, how amazing human beings are. There's such deep capacity in a human being, and we don't see it. We're taught in schools and in society that, well, a human being's a human being. You laugh, you cry, you have, there's money involved, and la 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 la. That's it. But it's not the case. Mm-mm. Human beings are incredible. They really are. If you give them the chance to shine.
That's just beautiful. And I think that's a really magical way to end, despite the fact that I would love to keep talking, because I think hopefully we've sparked some curiosity for folks about themselves and for themselves, and to explore all of these different avenues and options. Jim, if someone wants to learn more about you, or perhaps engage you in a healing ceremony, how do they connect with you?
Just find me on Instagram, or on my website, which is, Instagram is just at Jim Rajan. My website is jimrajan.com, my name. So
easy to find then. And we'll have the links to all of that in the show notes for everybody if you want to know more. And Jim is on Insight Timer if you want to check him out there as well. Jim, would you share your 3 words with us one last time?
Yeah, they were learning, meaning, and mission.
Yeah. They're beautiful words. I loved them when you first shared them with me, and I think we really leaned in to why those words are important to you, why you selected them. And I just want to say thank you for sharing yourself and your space and your time with us, and bringing all of this to me and to my listeners. Thanks, Jim.
My pleasure, honestly. It's a real honor. Thank you so much for providing that space.
Absolutely. So friends, I really want to hear what opened up for you from this conversation. What are you looking forward to allowing space for in your life? And all of that, by doing that, you're making a brave choice to exist and to listen and to know, to lean into the knowing and to explore all sorts of things. So let us know what you think. You can give us a call at 312-646-0205. I will respond to every message, or you can email me at heather@vickeryandco.com. And I'm so glad you chose to be here with us today. We'll see you again next Thursday for another episode of the Brave Files. But for now, this is Heather Vickery reminding you today and every day to go out and choose bravely. Hey friends, I want to share something really exciting with you. We already know you enjoy listening to podcasts because you're listening to this one, but I'm also betting you enjoy audiobooks. And hey, listen, if you don't already enjoy audiobooks, then it's time to check them out. That's why I'm really excited to share Libro.fm with you. They are an incredible new platform for listening to audiobooks. And by choosing Libro.fm over other audiobook services, you are supporting a local bookstore of your choice and investing in your local community. Libro.fm offers over 150,000 audiobooks via their primary platform, which, by the way, they built with love and from scratch because they're a small business also. They even offer bookseller recommendations for great audiobook options. You can sign up right now via www.vickeryandco.com/LibroFM. That's vickeryandco.com/LIBROFM. And when you do, you'll get one free audiobook of your choice, and the proceeds will go to your favorite local bookstore. Now, check what I just said there. You're going to get a free book, and the proceeds are still going to go to your local bookstore because Libro.fm makes sure that their booksellers get paid even when they give a promo to customers. I've listened to over 20 audiobooks this year alone. I especially love listening to memoirs read by the author, and it feels great knowing that all of my purchases support my local bookstore, The Book Table, in Oak Park, Illinois. Libro.fm. The same audiobooks, the same price, but a completely different story. Check them out right now at vickeryandco.com/LibroFM. Have you ever thought about starting a podcast? Maybe you've had this thought and then quickly shut it down because who has the time? Or you don't know how, or gosh, it just all seems too hard. If you have something to share with the world, we want to encourage you to get your message out. The world needs to hear it. Did you know that 50% of all homes are podcast fans? If you've ever wondered about having your own podcast or how it can increase your business or get your message across, then please join me and the other experts from the Podcast Power Academy for our monthly free Q&A session. It's called So You Want to Start a Podcast? This casual live conversation will help you understand how podcasting can be a great decision, why now is the best time to get started, and how to get into action with it. Visit podcastpoweracademy.com to learn more. You've been listening to The Brave Files, stories of people living courageously. To learn more about the show, find our show notes and full episode transcripts, or to get some great bonus content, visit thebravefilespodcast.com. And we would love to know what you think of the show. You can give us a call at 312-646-0205. Let us know your thoughts on the episode, the show in general, or maybe share with us how you're out choosing bravely. This episode is brought to you by Vickery & Co. Success Coaching. Coaching that helps you maintain a life well lived and a business well run. Learn more at vickeryandco.com. Our music was created and produced in a custom collaboration with Matt Lewis from ML Creative Consulting, a boutique firm dedicated to helping clients identify their unique sound and amplify their brand with custom delivered soundtracks. We couldn't do any of this without our extraordinary audio engineer, Andrew Olson. Learn more about him and check out his work at findandrewolson.com. And special thanks to everyone on Team Brave, from our producers, associate producers, copy editors, writers, and support team. Special thanks to Molly, Mary, Kim, Sabra, and Sabrina. I'm your host and executive producer, Heather Vickery. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next week.